Thank you for joining us today for the RapidStack for Higher Ed product demonstration. RapidStack for Higher Ed provides access to the answers you need to questions you never thought you could ask. The agenda for today's webinar, we'll just do some quick introduction. Then Jamie will be going over the RapidStack for Higher Ed product overview, and then she will also be providing a product demonstration showing you some of the features, capabilities of our solution. Again, my name is Bill Stack. I am the Business Development Manager at Launchworks, and doing most of the demonstration will be Jamie Trevino, who is our RapidStack Product Manager. Off to you, Jamie.
Great. Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Trevino. I am the Product Manager for RapidStack here at Launchworks. I am fairly new to the Launchworks team. I joined about 6 months ago after a very long career in higher ed and the data related to it. I have worked large institutions, small institutions, the whole time gathering data for anyone who needs it. So when I came to join the team here at Launchworks, I came with a very specific challenge in mind. I know that in higher ed, it's very hard for us to get the data that we need. It's very easy to put it in. There's lots of different solutions for that, but it's actually very hard to get the data back out. And so today I want to talk about RapidStack and the challenges that you're facing in higher ed and how RapidStack for Higher Ed can actually solve those problems. One of the bigger problems that I found whenever I was in higher ed was I had to chase the data everywhere. It had to be exported from the different systems, whether it was housing or a degree plan product or just the CRM or the recruitment product. Having to get it from all the different data sources to join to other data sources to answer questions was very difficult. Although it kept me in business, it was very difficult to do. So having to chase that down took a lot of time, a lot of resources. Another one of the challenges that we faced when as we tried to gather data was that the minute that we exported it, it was old, right? The minute you export it from the system, it's as old as that spreadsheet or that file that you pull out. It's also very flat. It's just data. It's there it's in a spreadsheet format or some sort of data format. Not very visually pleasing, and it's not very easy to consume for those that don't know what they're looking at. So we either had to manipulate it to form charts and pictures and graphs, or we just had to give it to them as it was and hope that they didn't need anything else, any other facets or any other fields that needed to come out of the system as well. That was another challenge is you ask for something, you get it, and then you realize that you needed 10 other things to go with it. And aside from that, the cost of it, the cost of pulling data, of getting the resources that had the skill set to actually know what they're talking about, and pulling the data and then manipulating it and getting it on to those that need it to make decisions. Very costly and very time-consuming in finding those resources there. What we've done with RapidStack is hopefully solved a lot of those problems. I want to talk a little bit today about RapidStack for Higher Ed and how it works. With RapidStack for Higher Ed, like I mentioned before, one of the challenges that is facing higher ed is that we have several different student information systems across the board. You usually have your big one, your Banner or your PeopleSoft, or this big student information system that houses most of your stuff. But then you have these little offshoots that are specific to a functional area. Maybe you have a different one for housing, maybe one for degree plans. Human resources is something completely separate in some cases. Some cases it's right there in Banner or in your student information system. You have your email and your network accounts that are in a completely different world altogether. You have, like I said, your ERP or your SIS. And you have your CRMs that sometimes talk to it, sometimes they don't. What we've done with RapidStack for higher ed is to put feelers out into all those different data sources and pull the data back into our data hub, to our student data hub, so that you have one source that you go to for all that information. You no longer have to chase down the data and go across campus to find it. It comes all into the student data hub. And for me, the student data hub that concept was a little difficult to understand at first, but hopefully this next graphic will help you understand it. What we've done is we've reached out into all those systems and we've built these building blocks that you can then use to answer the questions that you need, right? So no matter what the system is, we went out, grabbed it, made all the connections, made all the joins, and provide building blocks so that you, as a report writer or just an end user, could actually pull your own reports and pull the building blocks that you need to answer the questions. For example, if you want to know the student cost per hour, we're going into the budget or the HR system and pulling out our total budget, and then we're looking at our student ERP for how many student credit hours we have. All of that done, building blocks, all that can be done by a report writer in this particular, in RapidStack for higher ed. If you want to look at admissions territories, you go out to your CRM and pull who are the prospects, who are the applicants. But you also want to know in your admissions territories who's actually activated their accounts, who's actually activated their emails. This is where we can pull in from other data sources to give you that information all in one place. Have they put in a housing deposit? Have they actually registered? All of that before would have been chased down all over campus. Now with this student data hub, you come to the hub, you grab what you need, and you can see you have a really good insight to what your incoming class is in just a couple of reports. And of course, demand and room scheduling. Before, we would have to just kind of guess as to how many students were going to take a class in a particular semester. When we have our degree plans, hopefully the students have filed degree plans and set them up in there, but we can go there to see the course demand, which kids want to take these courses, which semester, what time of day. And then we can also watch that against registration in our SIS or our ERP. We can look at that and compare those in the same report based on these building blocks that we've built in the Student Hub. With all that said, what you get with RapidStack for higher ed is immeasurable, right? You get that data connection. Launchworks builds for you that data connection to all the information systems across campus, pulls it all into your Student Hub, and we provide for you reports, dashboards, and exploration views. Now, reports are just reports, exactly what you think. They are just graphs, tables of data that you need to look at. Dashboards would be more flashy, a little more GUI, a little more easily consumable by the executives, by the higher-ups. They really just need to see a snapshot of what's going on. We provide those as well. The exploration views. I haven't really talked about that much, but this is actually my favorite part of RapidStack for higher ed. An exploration view allows you to look into the data as though it were a spreadsheet, but it's in real time. We've made all those connections. We have the exploration view that pulls back all that information rather than having this spreadsheet that sits on someone's desktop. You're actually able to look into that exploration view in real time and manipulate the data. Now, that's not for everybody, but there are those across campus that would love to use that and love to have their hands in the data at that level. Our reports can also be the reports that we build, reports and dashboards can be embedded into other systems. So if you have your housing system or your SIS system that you just want to link to a particular report, say you have admissions processing and you want them to be able to see in real time a report of how many more applications they still need to do, we can embed a link into that system and allow them to access that report where they need it. So we're providing access to the data in the venue where you need it. With the system, we deliver out of the box about 30-ish reports, 5 dashboards, and 2 exploration views. Now, the cool thing about this is that on a monthly basis, you're getting more. So once you install it, although it's just out of the box right there, we also have the ability to pull in other reports as we develop them, other dashboards, other exploration views. As more and more schools use the system, we can take the templates from what they're using at their university and apply them to your data, or allow you to do that as well. That's the cool part about it, is that we can provide you the reports, or we give you the ability to make your own. So you have there endless possibilities with reports and dashboards and exploration views. We also provide training and support, and if there are other advanced reports that you would like to build outside of what's delivered, we offer you development resources so that, and I know at every institution there is that one report that goes out on Monday every week that everybody wants to see in the same exact format they've been seeing it for the past 10 years. Well, we can help you develop that if that's what you need, or if the reports that we provide don't meet your needs. What else you get from Launchworks? that was all what you got from RapidStack for higher ed. With Launchworks, when I worked for an institution of higher ed, we had Launchworks as our vendor for about 10 years, and I knew working with Launchworks that they were going to get it done. It was going to be done right, and they had our best interest at heart. They wanted us to succeed, and they were there as a success partner to help us do what we needed to do. You'll see on the board on the slides, they offer highly integrated user interfaces. The installation of this RapidStack for higher ed is very simple. We'll be up and running very quickly. There's unlimited content and visualization. We can help you develop some. We can provide templates from other schools, and then we can also allow you to develop your own. This can connect with RapidStack for higher ed. Launchworks has built in a way to connect to your LDAP or AD, single sign-on, authentications, that kind of stuff. If you don't want to have just a separate RapidStack login, they can tie into your existing systems to allow so that your users only have one login that they're already used to in their systems. You don't need any development skills with RapidStack for higher ed and with Launchworks. We can train you, we can do it, we can help you help yourself, or we can just simply develop for you. Like with this, you get a really robust reporting package, but we can also add more if you want to. We do offer unlimited reporting options and dashboards, exploration views. The exploration views will really help you because it just provides the data in real time. So a lot of the reports that you had before don't necessarily need to be done anymore because you've got access to the data right away. As I said, I worked with a state institution. We also have Dr. DeCristoforo was kind enough to offer up his opinions of Launchworks and what they have to say. He said while working at the University of Texas at San Antonio as a registrar, nearly a decade, they had engaged Launchworks most successfully in a variety of ways. And from the very beginning to the present, he had nothing but success in their experience with Launchworks. And we do appreciate Dr. DeCristoforo for sharing that and for saying that. It goes a long way to help us. Let's get into the demo and show you what we're talking about. This is actually our RapidStack for higher ed. You'll see that the interface, we have tabs. We also have different security groups. The coolest thing here that got me right away when I saw it was the map. The map is very cool. Very hard to do when you're sitting on the other side. Very hard to get maps to work when you're just extracting data or having to go look for a tool that does that. Here we provide the option to create a map on the fly. Within the map, if you'll also notice up here at the top, we have, as we've pulled together that data hub, rather than asking the questions that pertain only to a function, we put the data where you would need the questions answered. One of our first things to do was to do a strategic enrollment management cluster, if you will, to talk so that we can allow those that are making higher level decisions just the access to the data in the easily consumable format. Like the maps, they don't need to see a list of all the students. They just simply need to see where the students came from. Another one that we like to show is our actual versus maximum class enrollment. Again, these are all high-level strategic enrollment management type questions that we're answering so that you can have the data that you need to answer those questions in that way. As you'll see here, we also have HTML. As you'll see here under the admissions view, we also have dashboards. We have created a few that we will provide to you upon installation, but we can also work with you to manipulate them how they need to be to better fit your institution, and we can also create more if you need to. In this particular one, we're just looking at the admissions incoming class, the application processing, where the students are coming from, what percentage they're in. Aside from the dashboards that are cached and will be there all the time, so these would run once a day. So whenever your director of admissions logs in, or the director of financial aid, or a processing manager, they will all see the same data every time they log in. Updates once a day, it's cached for the rest of the day. One of the other things that we provided is an interactive dashboard. So there are those that would like to see the dashboard and see it in a snapshot, but need to change it a little bit to meet the questions that they're asking. This you'll see is similar to the HTML dashboard that we had before, but we can also filter it on class rank. So we want to know, of the students that are coming in, which ones are top 10%, which colleges are they going to, We can change those and filter it on the fly, depending on, and the filters and are customizable, so we can change them to whatever your institution needs. Again, the dashboards that can also be customized to whatever your institution needs as well. As you'll see, the dashboard changes as we change the different filters. So here we're pulling up the exploration view. This is by far my favorite part of RapidStack for higher ed. This exploration view allows the end users to come in and view the data in the data sources as though it were all in the same spreadsheet. Now you'll notice we have a very small data source. This is a test data source, test data, and we don't want to muck it up with too much stuff. But here we have aspects, because this is in the admissions space, these are aspects that are related to admissions. What's their admit type, what's their level code, where did they come from, what school did they come from, what was their high school rank when they got here, what was their SAT score, their ACT score. You can choose from any of the options at the top, pull them down into the viewing panel at the bottom. As you'll notice, we have different options to the left. And let's go ahead and choose the level code here. As you click on, you can see only the term code that you would like. As you click on the different levels, you'll see that we chose level code 01, we chose term code 2017-10. We're pulling in, as we click on these, it's adding it to the filtered area. They also make suggestions on the left-hand side as to how it's best to view your data. Right here, we're viewing it in a chart format, but we can also view it in table. And this looks very similar to your spreadsheets and can be manipulated as such. Again, in the left-hand panel, it shows the options for what would make this data look best, what would tell the best story with this data. And so it already suggests different options that would help display it just a little bit better. But these spaces, the registration space, the academic space, the admission space, all of these have facets and fields related to that particular area, but not necessarily only belonging to that area. With admissions, it helps to know if they registered or not. That's not necessarily something that is part of the admissions process, but helping to understand and to view that funnel and the yield, that's a part of it, right? We need to know if they registered for orientation. We need to know if they registered for classes. And those are fields that are included, but not necessarily belonging to the admissions process. Let's look at, really quickly, some of just the basic reports that you would get. As we move over to course scheduling, this is one of the first projects that we actually did with RapidStack. We joined the data sources of the degree plan software along with the student information software to actually give a really good, accurate view of what students want the classes and what students are actually registering for the classes so that they could better schedule the resources on campus and also avoid the bottlenecks of having too many students in a class and not enough classes offered or not enough seats offered to take it. As you'll see here, this is just a basic report. In admissions, we had the flashy dashboard, but here, they just needed the report, the basic table. Class size distribution, another one. We also have, like I said, interactive views and interactive reports on every level so that you can take the dashboard or take the reports that you see already, and for those that you want, give them the ability to manipulate them as you see. And that brings up another point. Not everybody has to manipulate or has to have the power to change the reports. If you have some that just need to be able to view the reports, you can give them a view only. However, if you have people that actually want to view and want to change the reports and would do so in a responsible manner, then you can give them the access as well. Right now, we're logged in as the academic dean. In our scenario, we gave the academic dean all powerful, almighty powers within our system, but actually anyone you can have your groupings depending on which area or what security you would like. As you'll see here, we have several different security level areas or groups so like an admissions group would only be able to see admissions data and so on. As we look at, I want to show you a little bit about the reports. A lot of you have reporting systems that maybe you have Crystal Reports, maybe you have Cognos or Tableau, and you want to be able to just either give the people the access to run those reports, or you want, say, some of your end users just be able to run some of these reports and not show them necessarily on a tab. We give you the ability to come in and run the reports as you see necessary. again, for those users that you feel would do the job well. For example, in admissions, if they were in the admissions group, they would have and see only the admissions tab in this. This comes in handy for the FERPA and HIPAA kind of stuff. So if you pull in financial aid or you pull in your health system, you can limit the access to those systems to only the people that would need to have that access to that data. So here, you would be able to pull up any of their admissions reports and run them as you needed to on the fly. We also give you the ability to run legacy reports. If you have Crystal reports or Tableau, we give you the ability to run them here within the portal. You don't have to worry about going out to another space and opening up yet another application to run that. We can actually import them and run them here, and that gives the end users the access to them directly rather than having to come through IT or to put in a special request to get the application to run them. We can simply launch them through the Legacy Reports tab. With all that said, this is the Academic Dean. Let me see if I can show you what it would look like for a course user. As you'll notice right away, the tabs at the top the list got significantly shorter, and that's a good thing. We only want them to see what they need to see. So we have these high-level users that can see everything, and you can even have high-level users like your executives that don't need to see everything, but simply the dashboards or the SEM view. And then you can restrict based on the function of the person that's actually logging in to see the reports. And you'll notice here on the Reports tab before, when I was logged in as the Academic Dean, I could see everything. And now, as I'm logged in as course user, I can only see the reports that were assigned to me in security. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much it in a nutshell. We hope that this will help you solve your challenges across campus. We look forward to hearing input from you and questions, and I'm turning it back over to Bill for any other information.
Thank you guys for taking part in this webinar. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to us at answers@launchworks.com or call us at 1-877-857-7407. Thank you again, and please visit our website at www.rapidstack.com. And also be on the lookout for invitations for our next webinar, which will be June 8th at 10 a.m. Central Time. We will have a technical demonstration again on some of the additional features of our RapidStack for Higher Ed product. Thank you again. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.